Have you ever wondered why we can't see the wind or why we can't see in the dark? In our daily lives, we trust our senses to navigate the world around us. Sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell. These are the tools we've been given to experience our surroundings. But what if I told you these senses only allow us to perceive a fraction of the world? That's right, our human perception is somewhat limited. Each of our senses works within a specific range, and anything that falls outside these parameters remains unperceived. Like a radio tuned to a particular station, we're only able to pick up certain frequencies of reality. Think about it. Our eyes can't detect the air around us, despite it being a fundamental aspect of our existence. Similarly, our vision is impaired in the absence of light. We call it darkness, but it's merely a limitation of our sight. This brings to mind the ancient story of Plato's cave. In this allegory, Plato described prisoners who have spent their entire lives chained in a cave, facing a blank wall. All they see are the shadows of objects behind them, cast on the wall by a fire. These prisoners perceive these shadows as reality, not knowing they are mere reflections of the real world. Just like these prisoners, our perception is bound by our experiences and the limitations of our senses. We perceive shadows and reflections, but there's a vast world out there, unobserved, unexperienced. This isn't to say that our senses are inadequate. On the contrary, they are incredibly sophisticated, allowing us to experience the world in all its richness and diversity. But it's important to acknowledge that they are not all-encompassing. Just like an iceberg, what we perceive is merely the tip, with a much larger part hidden beneath the surface. The unseen, the unheard, the unfelt, these are the hidden realities, the mysteries waiting to be discovered. We've only scratched the surface of what's out there, beyond our reach. Light is the reason we see, but did you know we only see a tiny part of the light spectrum? Now let's dive into the fascinating world of the electromagnetic spectrum. Picture a vast sea of energy stretching out in all directions, waves of different sizes and frequencies from the shortest gamma rays to the longest radio waves, all dancing and intertwining. And in the midst of this grand ballet, there's a tiny sliver that we humans can perceive. We call it visible light. Visible light, the colors of the rainbow from violet to red, is just a tiny fraction of the electromagnetic spectrum. There's a whole world of light out there that our eyes just aren't equipped to see. But let's rewind to the year 1718, when astronomer Sir William Herschel made a groundbreaking discovery. He was experimenting with sunlight and prisms, and he noticed that a thermometer placed just beyond the red light heated up. This was puzzling because there was no visible light there. Herschel had stumbled upon something extraordinary: infrared light. Invisible to our eyes but very much real. Fast forward a few decades and we meet Johann Ritter. A scientist intrigued by Herschel's discovery, Ritter wondered if there might be invisible light at the other end of the spectrum. Sure enough, he discovered ultraviolet light, another form of light that our eyes can't perceive. So, there it is. Our understanding of the world is limited by our senses. We exist in a universe teeming with invisible energy, only perceiving a fraction of what's truly there. From the warm infrared that snakes use to hunt, to the ultraviolet rays that bees use to find flowers, there's a whole unseen world out there. Invisible light might seem like something out of a sci-fi story, but it's a part of our everyday lives. It's what allows us to use remote controls, it's the heat we feel from the sun, it's even used in medicine to see inside our bodies. Just imagine, there are colors out there we can't even comprehend. Ever thought about the tiny organisms living in a drop of water or the vastness of the universe? Our human eyes are truly remarkable, capable of perceiving an astounding array of colors, shapes, and movements. But they are limited in their scope. We can't see things too small, like the microorganisms in a drop of water, or those too far away, like the distant stars and galaxies in the universe. Think back to when we were children, exploring our backyard. We thought we knew every inch of it, from the tallest tree to the smallest pebble. But then, we received a magnifying glass and our world was forever expanded. Suddenly that familiar pebble was a landscape of jagged peaks and valleys, and that leaf, a complex network of veins. This was our first introduction to the micro-world, a world teeming with life and activity that was always there, just beyond our sight. In the same vein, consider the first time man peered through a telescope, bringing the distant stars and planets within our reach. The night sky transformed from a flat canvas dotted with lights into a vast, three-dimensional expanse full of other worlds. The telescope was our gateway to the macro world, a world that stretched our understanding of size and distance, challenging our perception of our place in the universe. The invention of the microscope and the telescope were pivotal moments in human history. They expanded our perception, and by extension, our understanding of the world. They revealed worlds within worlds, layers of existence that our naked eyes could never perceive. And yet, even with these tools, we are only scratching the surface. The micro-world extends to realms where atoms and particles dance, and the macro-world stretches to distances so vast that light, our fastest messenger, takes billions of years to traverse. So let's marvel at the wonders of our vision, but also acknowledge its limitations. For beyond what we can see, there are worlds within worlds, intricate and immense, waiting to be discovered. There are worlds within worlds, most of which remain unseen to the naked eye. What about things that happen too fast, or too slow for us to perceive? Let's dive into the realm of time, another dimension that often eludes our perception. It's fascinating, isn't it? How our perception is limited not only by what we can see, but also by when we can see it. Consider high-speed events, those that occur in the blink of an eye, or faster. To the naked eye, these moments are often lost, reduced to a blur or a fleeting impression. But technology has found a way around this limitation. Enter the world of high-speed cameras. These marvels of invention can capture events at thousands of frames per second, effectively slowing time and revealing the extraordinary in the ordinary. Imagine a water balloon bursting. To us, it's over in an instant. But a high-speed camera shows the balloon's skin retracting, the water holding its shape for a moment before it succumbs to gravity. It's like seeing the world in slow motion, where every minute detail is laid bare. On the other end of the spectrum, we have events that unfold so slowly, they're almost imperceptible. Changes that take days, months, years, or even decades to fully manifest. Here is where time-lapse photography steps in, speeding up time and providing us with a bird's-eye view of these slow changes. Picture a seed germinating, breaking through the soil, growing into a plant. To us, it seems to happen slowly over days and weeks. But a time-lapse camera can condense this process into mere seconds, showing us the silent, persistent struggle of life unfolding. Our perception of time, it seems, is rather subjective. We live our lives in a constant present, a fleeting moment that's always slipping into the past. Yet, through the lens of technology, we're able to glimpse the world beyond the constraints of our perception, a world where time can be stretched thin or condensed into a single moment. So it appears that our perception isn't just limited by what we can physically see. It's also bound by how fast or slow we can perceive events unfolding. Time, as we perceive it, is but a small slice of the cosmic clock. What if I told you that most of the universe is made up of stuff we can't see or even understand? This might sound like a line from a sci-fi movie, but it's a fact that baffles scientists to this day. The reality is that about 95% of the universe is composed of dark matter and dark energy. Despite their names, they're not dark because they're sinister, but because they are literally unseen. They do not interact with light or any other form of electromagnetic radiation, making them invisible to our eyes and our instruments. Yet, their effects are profound. Dark matter, although unseen, is the glue that holds galaxies together. Without it, galaxies would fly apart, unable to hold themselves together against the pull of their own gravity. Dark energy, on the other hand, is even more mysterious. It's the force that's driving the universe to expand at an ever-accelerating rate. But what it is, what it's made of, and why it behaves the way it does remain unanswered questions. The story of scientists' ongoing efforts to understand these phenomena is like a detective novel. They're looking for clues in the cosmos, trying to piece together the puzzle that is the universe. They're building massive detectors deep underground, hoping to catch a glimpse of a dark matter particle. They're observing distant supernovae, trying to measure the effects of dark energy. They're even attempting to recreate the conditions of the early universe in powerful particle accelerators, hoping to generate dark matter and dark energy in a controlled environment. But despite these Herculean efforts, dark matter and dark energy remain elusive. They're like the shadows in a dark room, unseen but undeniably present. They're a reminder that the universe is far more complex and mysterious than our senses can comprehend. In the grand scheme of things, our perception only gives us a glimpse into the vast unseen universe.